we have to figure out what's our role in this thing called the American dream.
Today's guest is a gorgeous comedian, writer, producer, political commentator, and actor. He was a Daily Show correspondent from 2014 to 2018. He was the featured speaker at the 2017 White House Correspondents' Dinner. He was the host of The Amazing Show, one of my favorite political commentary shows, The Patriot Act. And he won 2 Peabody Awards, 2 Webby Awards. That's something for your parents to be excited about. Give it up for Hasan Minhaj! Hey. Father of 2, husband, yes. Yes.
Yep. 2 beautiful brown babies, brown queen at home.
Your wife's gorgeous too. She's like powerful.
She's the one. Dr. Patel. Yeah, she's the one.
Okay, so how you feeling this election cycle?
Fear, confusion, disillusionment. And I'm trying to do everything I can to ensure that I have a sense of agency in my life. So that's why I'm doing this amazing interview with you.
That is awesome and honest. Thank you. Are you feeling any hope?
I consider myself to be an angry optimist because it's the only choice that I have. So nihilism is a fun choice in comedy, but it is not an effective choice for my day-to-day life.
How do you feel about Joe Biden and Kamala Harris?
You know, I interviewed Senator Harris, and we talked about Joe Biden. And I said, look, the community isn't super excited. And she said, look, you're not marrying the guy. So it's not one of those things where I'm asking you to wear the t-shirt and get the bumper sticker, but you do have a choice to make. Oftentimes, and especially the community that I'm from, we look at politicians and we give them this God complex as if they're supposed to be these perfect saviors. And when in reality, you got to look at the presidency as a +5, -20 proposition because you're moving such a big ship. So a lot of times when people are like, what did Obama ever do for me? What did Bush ever do for me? At most, because of how bureaucratic the whole system is, you can get a +5. You can pass maybe the Affordable Care Act, if you're lucky in 8 years. But how much you can fuck up, that -20 is very much on the table.
Right.
So for me, things like science, climate, you know, is the virus real? Those things aren't debates, you know? So I want to give a shout out to my man, Ronnie Chang. So he's like, it's not Democrat versus Republican. It's competence versus incompetence. And our community does not have a lot of patience with incompetence. I think it's going to be the beginning of the conversation, not the end. And so there is a lot of nihilism and distrust that comes with the system. 1000% agree. All of our issues are not on the menu. 1000% agree. That being said, we are in the game. We are naturalized citizens. I mean, Abu came here. We ain't going anywhere. So we have to participate within the game. What's our first move and what are our next moves?
Fully fucking agree. Biden and Harris are not our saviors. But there is something in this past year of an awakening and a reckoning.
Yeah, it's weird. I've tried to look at the silver lining of everything. And these past 4 years have forced everybody to get a degree in poli-sci. We've been forced to basically turn into Fareed Zakaria. We're all just these international policy wonks. And that's both funny, but also real.
Your episode on the Asian American vote of the Patriot Act was so dope. There's 18.2 million Asian Americans in the US right now. And more than 11 million Asian Americans will be able to vote this year. What does that mean for you in the context of voting for Joe Biden and Kamala Harris?
This is the time where we can start pressuring national politicians and local politicians to start listening to our other agenda points. That's really what this means to me. And it kind of taps into what you were talking about of vote for Biden and then ride him.
And 11 million Asian American voters could completely own and decide the vote, could completely decide it. And more specifically in Georgia and Arizona, Asian American voters make up 4.5% of eligible voters, and in Florida and North Carolina, 3.5%. These margins are so torturously tight.
And then if you look at the margins of victory, 50,000 votes here, 60,000 votes here, you're basically 3 Indian weddings away from flipping an entire election. You do a wedding in Florida, like you could completely change the election.
So campaigns don't talk to Asian voters. Only 2 in 5 Asian Americans has been contacted by political parties. Yikes.
Honestly, like if you just called and invited us to the birthday party, we would probably participate. That's really it.
We've been getting more and more excited about Biden and Harris because of the policies they're putting forth. They're shockingly progressive. We'll see how they turn out. We'll ride him until he does and they do what they put forth and promised and what we voted for. Let me tell you a couple of Biden's policies. So, okay, first of all, Joe Biden believes the climate crisis is real.
Pretty dope.
So Biden has released so far the most ambitious plan for climate change ever released by a major party nominee for president. He wrote this proposal with Bernie Sanders and climate activists and active climate policy makers.
It's refreshing to see there's an acknowledgement of this inevitable thing.
Not only does he want to fight climate crisis, but they're actually addressing environmental racism. Who is affected first and worst by the climate crisis?
I don't want to look back and, say, wow, those were the good old days. I don't like looking at my phone and being like, my kids can't run outside and play today.
Biden also supports decriminalizing weed at the federal level, leaving individual states the discretion to legalize recreational weed usage.
How do you feel when your colleagues or different people online kind of check you and you're like, hey, what do you have to say about the hypocrisy of the policies that they had in the 80s and the 90s and how they've quickly changed their tune on these positions?
I think it's fucked. I think the whole plan has to have restorative justice in it. In real life, I'm smoking all around the city in my 20s and I'm not stopped by a cop once because I'm a white person. I really think that, or I will fight for restorative justice to be a part of weed legalization.
One of the big things to me is that restorative justice is about not only equality, but equity. It's people being equity owners in businesses and in land and in cannabis. That is the only way I think brown and black communities will be able to right those wrongs.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, last two things. National minimum wage, they want to make $15.
I'm like, that's some Bernie shit.
Finally.
Thing is, last thing for real, is 2-year community college for free.
Dope.
Fucking dope.
Please commit to vote and make a voting plan. Reach out to somebody on WhatsApp, be like, I'm voting, are you voting? And hold each other to it.
A generator video has a simple format to make it easy to use your social media to talk about politics and government and humanize policy.
My name's Hasan Minhaj. I'm from Davis, California, and I'm in Los Angeles, California right now. I love how squishy my daughter's nose is. In my lifetime, I would like to see the end of qualified immunity. #end qualified immunity. So everybody who's watching, that's a part of my community, I know you're frustrated, I know you're in pain. The first step for actual real change is on November 3rd. We all have to vote, but that's just the beginning of our journey. It is not the end. So vote and ride those politicians until we get what we want.